Dear progressives, calling reparations a race to the bottom, I don't want to call it racist, but it is anti-Black. And let me tell you why. We are the poorest group. The median wealth in Boston for a US-born Black family is $8. $8. Los Angeles is like $4,000. Washington, D.C. is $3,500. White families in a white family in Los Angeles, we have California, Los Angeles, $4,000 for US-born Blacks. White people, $355,000. So I need you to, when you start saying that, like, this is the difference between surviving, this is the difference between survival and death. We are being murdered in the street. Our people, 50% of the people that are homeless in this country are Black. We are 14% of the population, but 50% of the homeless. If you don't know that, and if you don't care about that, and you call yourself a progressive, I don't know what you're progressive about. So you can't say you care about people and tell Black people that we need to get behind. Tell me how free college helps the homeless people. Literally up the street from me, there was a whole homeless encampment that the police just cleared out last week, and the policeman coming back, making sure it doesn't come back. How does it help? How does free college help the Black people who are homeless right now? It doesn't, because you need time to think. You need a place to live. You need certain things to go to school. Like, we need money, period. That's what we need. That's what we don't. That's what we need. Y'all need everything else because you guys are stable. So you're talking to us like we have stable Black communities. Our communities are not stable. What you guys are experiencing right now in COVID is our everyday life. So your interests and our interests are not the same. So you can't give me what works for you, because that only works for maybe 5% of Black people. So y'all keep talking about class. Everything that you're proposing mainly affects the top 5% of Black people. Outside of that, it don't really affect them that much. So you don't even understand why on the margin, like you're chipping away at the margins, and then you're gonna say, well, hey, Black people, we gave you this, we gave you that. You're still struggling because you didn't give us what we needed. So stop telling me what I need. Like, a long time, I come from the personal development space. So I used to, read a lot of books, Think and Grow Rich. A long time ago, I saw Lisa Nichols in person, and she said, your customer will tell you what they want. They'll tell you what product they want. Black people are telling you what we want. ADOS people are telling you what we want. And you are telling us, no, you want this. And that's why you're getting the response that you're getting. So y'all better figure it out, because the same way that I can't get out here and be like, no, we don't need Medicare for all, and no, you don't need no free college, y'all not going to join behind me. So why do you think I would join behind you? That's like me being out here being like, F the environment. We can do that later. Like, reparations, we need reparations right now, the same way we need to start working on the environment, and the same way people need UBI, free college. We need that just as much as you need everything else. So either you're gonna pick up the Black plight and fight with us, or we're gonna keep fighting each other and let all the oligarchs with all the money keep winning. But this comes through us. So either you get on our team, I hate to say it, but either you're gonna get down or you're gonna lay down. Ain't no other way to put it, y'all. I'm sorry, y'all could be mad at us all that you want, but if you could do it without us, you would have did it already. Period. Like, you still need us. And even more than that, on a spiritual level, you need our energy. You need Black people ancestors to decide that they want to save this country, and they only gonna do it if they people ask them to. And with us rooting for y'all to fail, it's all bad. So I'm gonna let y'all go. I'm sorry.
All right, thanks, Sam. All right, John. Again, sorry, you got to follow that.
Nah, man. Nah, man. I love this. I live for this shit. I love this. Sam going, no. I've been waiting for this, man. But yeah, man, like with the whole left wing agenda, and Carol's constantly talking about how these particular policies will help the majority of people. That means it's going to help white. Like, we're a minority. Like, so he's like, yo, not only is it good for Black people, it's good for everybody. But like, we are a minority of people. So basically just saying, Black people, shut up. You're gonna get a little bit of crumbs, We're gonna stabilize white people. We're gonna stabilize all the top immigrants in the country. I mean, like the upper echelon immigrants. You're gonna stabilize immigrants that are below you. Like give them citizenship, put them above you, and you're gonna get some crumbs. The other side, you ain't gonna get no crumbs, and the Republicans ain't gonna really give you nothing. So just shut up. That's what.
And John, can you touch on that wealth transfer they're about to get as well?
It's about the wealth transfer from where? Like you talking about from
the 67 trillion that they about to get from their grandparents?
Oh yeah. So we all know. So they about to get their reparations. So basically, the Gen X's and the Gen Z's and all, even the millennials, when the white millennials get into like their 40s, and I mean, when my age, when they get into their 50s, and our parents start dying off, they about to get their reparations, and then they about to get and our boomer class is going to die off. They have no liquid to pass down, nothing, and it's going to leave us a permanent underclass. They're not understanding this. Like they're not understanding you must stabilize the native black population before you implement any large sweeping left-wing redistribution programs, things of that nature, because it'll fail. It'll fail, and I'm tired of these motherfuckers. They lie. I'm tired of them because it's like, yo, just let go of the anti-blackness. Do you want to win? Like Sam said, do you want to win, or do you just want to still
realize you're anti?
Yeah, what are y'all doing? Like, do you like is us being on the bottom still that important to you? Like, just like, you know what? Fuck it, man. Fuck it. We found another way to, like, yo, you have to fix us to fix America, period. Every time something happens for black people, ADOS, the country moves forward. Slavery abolished, country moves forward. Reconstruction, country moves forward. Then, like desegregation, civil rights, country moves. Every time the country moves forward, everybody, we drag we got to carry the whole weight of the fucking country on our back for this shit to move forward. And if these people understand history and they understand numbers and data, I don't understand why they don't see that. Like, this is the final step of the civil rights movement. The economic part, the economic justice part that MLK was talking about. This is the final step. So, and I always ask the democratic socialists, like, yo, all right, it's like, yo, Sweden, Denmark. I'm like, well, how does the three black people that live in Sweden, how do they live compared to the majority Swedish?
No.
Majority Danish population.
I hate to jump in on that. But the reason why their society has everything that they have is because it's is homogeneous? Is that what the word I'm looking for?
Homogeneous society.
It's majority white. So the reason why this country has such a shitty labor movement, such shitty safety net, is because they use blacks to undercut whites. So it's like, nah, we can't do welfare. Those lazy Negroes are gonna get welfare, but the majority of the people that are on welfare are white women. So you're throwing your white women into the fire just so you can make sure a few black people don't get something. So this is the thing, y'all gotta let, like you say, you gotta let the anti-blackness go. Like, you don't understand why all of these policies. We need affordable housing. We need housing as a human right. You know why you can't have affordable housing? You know why you can't have housing as a human right? Because people don't want Negroes moving in their neighborhoods. So because of that, they have to outprice black people. And they feel like, as a white person, you should have enough money to not have to live with Negroes. And if you don't, it's on you. So then you have to live in bad schools, or you end up living in poorer communities. And that is an anti-black thing. People say it's class, but it's more race than it is class.
Absolutely.
Because even rich black people deal with discrimination in wealthy neighborhoods.
Yep. Sam said it all for me. I'm done.
Forgive me. I'm so sorry.
Oh, no.
Sorry.
She's hyped.
I'm done. I'm about to take a nap. I'm done. She's killing it.
All right, John. Appreciate that. Mud, you're up, baby.
I mean, the best part about like going back and looking at this video is the ability I have now to laugh at how smug this motherfucker was about how he thought he had the best plan for getting elected. And look at them now. Look where they at. They don't know what to fucking do. They have nothing now. And really, if they had ran with the reparations thing, think about this. Bernie, by March time, when the George Floyd shit happened, he would have been unfucking touchable if he had reparations.
Bernie at marches leading all them white people screaming Black Lives Matter. That a 50-year runaround from when he was marching in the 60s. What? That would have been, man, that would have been the best storyline ever. People love a good story.
He would have just walked into the White House. Like he really would have if he had took on this issue.
Could you imagine if he would have been like reparations and bringing back the poor people's campaign? Like we're gonna combine reparations with the poor people's campaign. We're gonna complete Martin Luther King's mission. What, man? Let me tell you, y'all don't know how to run a campaign. Y'all stupid. Y'all could have made finally, like, come on. Especially there's more poor whites in this country than anybody. How y'all don't even know how to set up something where y'all can create a real coalition. And I just believe the Democrats want to lose.
And like you were saying earlier with the fucking like tying this into like the greatest injustice of labor that has happened in this country. You could have easily went from that to talking about your like all your labor ideas for the Green New Deal, all this shit, the $15 minimum. You could have easily went from that to that. But what you guys do now is y'all use our story, y'all use our suffering to sell all these universal plans. And then we look at you pissed off, like, what the fuck are you doing? Because you're leaving us out for the most part. But if you had started with reparations, we would have been on board. We wouldn't have given a fuck what you said after that point.
That's facts.
But hell yeah.
Period.
What you guys are real.
I'm sorry, bud. You done? You good?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. So I got 2 quick points in. All right, we're gonna do a little. We had a little history. We're gonna do a little science. All right. So when we started talking about talking about moving to different planets, we're gonna put colonies on Mars or colonies on the moon. There was a process called terraforming, turning that space into terra meaning Earth, turning that space into livable, wherever it was, the moon, Mars, wherever, turning that space into some sort of livable space for humans, right? So what I believe is going on, all right, we're going deep into conspiracy theory territory, but I don't think so. But it's also along the lines of what Chris Hedges talks about, right? So what we're looking at is corporations have decided that offshoring is inefficient, right? So what they're trying to do is they already torn the labor movement down. They're tearing everything else down so people will work for anything, right? So now that's when they'll start talking about bringing jobs, manufacturing back here. People say manufacturing is gone for good. That's bullshit. If you have the right set of incentives through law, the manufacturing can come back. If we subsidize it, manufacturing can come back, right? So that's what we're looking at. So we have to be clear. We have to be very, very clear about what's going on, right? We are our subjugation is part of that process, right? Because we are the only ones in the modern history with any W's against white supremacy. Only us. We're the only ones with wins against white supremacy. Only us, right? So we have to keep that in mind, and keeping us at the bottom is part of keeping everybody else down. As my mother used to say, the only way to keep me in the ditch is to stay down there with me, right? So that's by keeping us at the bottom, everybody else gets pulled down to the bottom. And they're even trying to slide people underneath us, right? So to make sure we have a bottom. There's always going to be a bottom, right? Even if we disappear tomorrow, there's always going to be a bottom. So we have to be aware of that. Even as we are fighting for our own reparations, it's a part of a larger scheme, right? But we have to prioritize ourselves. I just wanted to put that out there. All right. The second thing is real quick. Sam talked about homelessness. We're 50% of the homeless, all right, and 13% of the population. And ADOS is probably slightly less than 13%, right? So if we get reparations, you cut homelessness in half. Food insecurity cut in half, right? Overnight, one policy, right?
Yep, housing as a human right. Boom.
Yeah.
50% of Black people have a home.
Just that
50% of the homeless have a home, and that's 50% of the Black people. Boom, home.
Yeah. So that's half your homeless population is no longer unhoused. How could you fight against that, right? We're at the bottom for food insecurity, right? We're at the bottom for health, right? All these things that we suffer from and we are overrepresented in could be taken care of in less than a generation with one policy, right? Well, all the other policies still count for us, right? But one policy, you could, with this one policy, you could do more than we did with the New Deal, and we're still not going to do it. That's wild to me. You know what I mean? It's absolutely wild to me. All right. That's my point on. That's what I had on that one.
I don't. This is going to be very unpopular. We can't do reparations first. And the reason why we can't do reparations first is because with the level of wealth inequality that we have in this nation right now, if we were to do reparations first, that would paint a giant target on the back of every Black person in this nation.
That's perfect. So do we want to move to the great wealth transfer then? Because they're talking about how we got to fix everybody because everybody's poor, right? Mm-hmm. Let me zoom out finally. Good. Thank you. Oh my God. Okay. Woo. So everybody's poor. We got to save everybody. White people are poor too. So yes, there are something like 40 million poor white people, but there's something like 147 million white people. So 100 million y'all got money still. So for those 100 million who got money, which yes, your parents who own a house and your grandparents who own a house, yes, this involves you because that's money. That's a wealth transfer. So if your parents ever bought you a car or helped you with a loan, or don't let your parents have bought you a house, all of this stuff, that's a wealth transfer. So welcome to the Wall Street Journal. Older Americans stockpiled a record 35 trillion. The time has come to give it away. And I'm lazy. I don't want to read this. So I'm going to make y'all listen to the computer, read it. And let me know if y'all want me to pause it so we can comment on it. Okay? All right, cool.
Older Americans stockpiled a record $35 trillion. The time has come to give it away. Transfers to heirs and others are unleashing a torrent of economic activity, including buying homes, starting businesses, and giving to charity. By Ben Eisen and Ann Turgeson. July 2, 2021, 10 a.m. Eastern Time. The greatest wealth transfer in modern history has begun. Baby boomers and older Americans have spent decades accumulating an enormous stockpile of money. At the end of this year's first quarter, Americans age 70 and above had a net worth of nearly $35 trillion, according to Federal Reserve data. That amounts to 27% of all U.S.
I just want to pause for a second just so people can understand. Black America as a whole has $3 trillion. That includes Oprah. That includes that includes all our Black billionaires. That includes everybody. $3 trillion.
Sam, are you saying that there's wealth inequality between us and white people? Who knew?
Oh my God. I don't even know. Oh my God. Do I have to break out the charts? But let's just go through what they have. I'm going to keep playing. Do y'all have anything before I keep going? Because I know this is a lot, but y'all got anything?
No, we good.
Okay. Thank you.
Wealth, up from 20% 3 decades ago. Their wealth is equal to 157% of U.S. gross domestic product, more than double the proportion 30 years ago, federal data show. Now they have started parceling it out to their heirs and others, unleashing a torrent of economic activity, including buying homes, starting businesses, and giving to charity. And many recipients are guided by different priorities and politics than their givers. Older generations will hand down some $70 trillion between 2018 and 2042, according to research and consulting firm Truly Associates. Roughly $61 trillion will go to heirs, increasingly millennials and Generation X heirs, with the balance going to philanthropy. The transfer will provide another display of the outsized economic power of baby boomers, who came of age during a wave of post-World War II.
Sorry, because I have to tie stuff together. So all of these poor white kids that were in the BLM movement, that were all rowdy, are they going to calm down when they get this money from their grandparents, when their grandparents start kicking down this money? Or when their grandparents kick the bucket? Because it says millennials and Gen Xers. Like millennials, that gets down to millennial goes all the way down to 1994. Mm-hmm. Y'all got anything? I'm sorry. I know I keep pausing. I'm gonna let it play some more unless y'all got something.
No, we good. I'm just concerned about these kids having a target on their back. But go ahead.
Yeah, because black people. No, not even that. Well, hey, yeah, you know why? Because the 40 million poor whites might come and get these people. So we should not allow this great wealth transfer to happen amongst rich whites because poor whites might come and kill them for their money. And this is why.
But that's the class war they've been asking for, right? That's the class war they want, ain't it? But go ahead, let's continue. Let's too much logic.
Okay. I'm good.
Prosperity and drove the economy through many stages of their lives. The average inheritance in 2019 was $212,854, up 45% from an inflation-adjusted $146,844 in 1998, according to an analysis of Fed data by economists at a unit of Capital One Financial Corporation. And people aren't waiting until they die. Annual gifts taxpayers reported to the Internal Revenue Service, a fraction of the gifts that flow outside the tax system, rose to $75 billion in 2016, from an inflation-adjusted $45 billion in 2010. Over that period, the amount that people could give away without paying taxes on gifts.
Sorry, I'm gonna keep going, but I just want y'all to see this chart. Like, look at how much this has rose since the 1990s. Like, look, 40 trillion gifts to heirs. Somebody lying. Y'all white people lying about this money. Are y'all just mad that you haven't got your cut yet? Are you mad that you gotta live in a shitty 1-bedroom apartment and your parents couldn't afford to buy you a house, but you gonna inherit grandma's house?
Yeah, it's all these trust fund kids that are running their movement right now.
Anybody, before I go back to playing this, I just wanted to go through that because you can see this in this chart.
That's the white middle class. Real shit like, be honest with you, like this, I think they said something about the average amount would be 200 something. That's the white middle class. That's not the rich white people. That's how much wealth white people got. Like,
you know, the funny thing. Oh, sorry. I'm sorry. Please go on, John.
That's all. I'm just saying that's the white middle class though. People playing these games like a quarter. These white people. Yeah, I'm trying to. These. You know. Gotta be seeing on. Mm-hmm.
John, you just said something that triggered something in my head. What'd you say about that 272,000 or something? You said something about 272,000 or something like that being transferred, right?
Yeah, something like
yep. per person. They said, where was it? I'm so sorry. I need to point it out. Okay, so the average inheritance was 212,854. Reparations for Black people is only like 272 to 3 something if we're talking about the down payment, which is the 40 acres and the mule. So white people are getting reparations every fucking generation.
Wealth we weren't allowed to accumulate.
I'm sorry. Anybody else? I'm sorry. Forgive me. Mud, come on. I need you to say something.
Oh, I'm like driving right now, but yeah. Yeah, John is right though. I do think though, when we talk about like, we got to be careful when we talk about the middle class based on wealth, because it could be a whole totally different game, because the way our society works, we base it all on income. We don't even talk about wealth when we're talking about middle class, upper class, and all this shit.
That's facts.
So, like, literally, we could be talking about someone like, we're saying they have their middle class based on their wealth, and they could be bringing in $1 million every year. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just weird how this whole shit is worked out. But I think that like it's intended to work this way to hide what's actually going on.
Mm-hmm. That's a good point, bud.
So that we're confused about, like, it's not just us, it's the poor in general, but mainly us, because this is the focus of our show. I mean, it's about us being confused about what is actually going on so that we never actually demand something different. But yeah, that's all I got to say about that,
That's good. Very good points, Mud. Very good points.
Thank you, Mud. I needed that hot fire. Okay, I'm gonna go back to playing this. I'm sorry, y'all. Y'all gotta. I hope they don't hit us with a copyright for this.
They'll be all right.
That's what you get for taxing people.
Rose from $1 million to more than $5 million for individuals and from $2 million to more than $10 million for couples. That gift tax exemption rose again in 2018 and today is $11.7 million for individuals and $23.4 million for couples. In 2026, it is scheduled to return to the 2017 level of $5.49 million per person, adjusted for inflation. Kingston, New York, which sits along the Hudson River north of New York City, is seeing the effect of the approximately $9 trillion expected to flow into philanthropy. When Berkshire Hathaway Incorporated chief executive Warren Buffett, who was 90, decided to give away nearly all his money, he directed big chunks of it to foundations run.
Okay, now I'm gonna have to go back to reading because I don't care about that shit. Let's talk about the money going to the white kids. Okay. Inheritances and gifts can bring financial stability to some recipients, and for others can provide the freedom to take more risk. Something data have shown drives a great willingness to invest in stocks and increase riskier work ventures, such as starting a business that have potential for bigger payoffs. 20 years ago, Bart Boyer, 73, gave each of his 4 children stock in the financial advisory firm he founded in Asheville, North Carolina. Today, those shares are in privately held Parsec Financial. Parsec. Sorry, y'all. I'm thirsty.
That's a Star Wars word. All good.
Parsec Financial are worth 15 times as much. Each year, he gives them a bit more stock. All that is outside my estate, said Mr. Boyer. Recently, Mr. Boyer and his wife Elaine set up trusts for 5 grandchildren of $25,000 each and plan to give annually for at least a decade. Fred Hampton, leftist, you don't want Black people to get no money? Are you gonna stop this wealth transfer?
They don't want to stop it. They like
y'all gonna stop this wealth transfer. Listen, I don't need y'all to talk about reparations. I need you to talk about how we need to be taxing white people for this wealth transfer. That's in your wheelhouse. This is in your capitalist wheelhouse. So I'm gonna point you where you should go so you get the fuck up out our business, because reparations ain't your thing. But this should be your shit right here.
Listening to Reset Race, you now tuned in to Reset Race. You're listening to Reset Race, you're now tuned in to Reset Race. What? Put them back on the grill again. We grilling them. Put them back on the grill again. We grilling them. Put it back on the grill again. We grilling them. Back on the grill again. We grilling them. You're listening to Reset Race. ADOS need reparations to make America great. You're tuned in to Reset Race. We no longer starving while others eat off our plate. No. You're listening to Reset Race. We focused on our justice claim. We know what is at stake. You're tuned in to Reset Race. You'll find out who really about justice and really who fake. On the edge, go back to U.S. Southern plantations. Penniers, Jim Crow, and mass incarceration. Redlining lynchings, we are old from this nation. You're not about justice if you ain't for reparations. MG, the wise one, cousin, mother, intellectual. Samantha bringing fire, anti-black, we pressing you. No permanent friends and no permanent enemies. The backbone of the country, to win, you need our energy. You gon' see? Listening to Reset Race. You now tuned in to Reset Race. You're listening to Reset Race. You're now tuned in to Reset Race. Put them back on the grill again. We grilling them. Put them back on the grill again. We grilling them. Put them back on the grill again. We grilling them. Back on the grill again. We grilling them. You're listening to Reset Race. ADOS need reparations to make America great. You're tuned in to Reset Race. We no longer starving while others eat off our plate. No. You're listening to Reset Race. We focused on our justice claim. We know what is at stake. You tuned in to Reset Race, you'll find out who really about justice and really who fake.
Until you do right by me, everything you think about is gonna crumble.
At the very same time that America refused to give the Negro any land, through an act of Congress, our government was giving away millions of acres of land in the West and the Midwest, which meant that it was willing to undergird its white peasants from Europe with an economic floor. But not only did they give the land, they built land grant colleges with government money to teach them how to farm. Not only that, they provided county agents to further their expertise in farming. Not only that, they provided low interest rates in order that they could mechanize their farms. Not only that, today many of these people are receiving millions of dollars in federal subsidies not to farm, and they are the very people telling the black man that he ought to lift himself by his own bootstraps. Now, this is what we are faced with, and this is the reality. Now, when we come to Washington in this campaign, we are coming to get our check.